Hello, everyone. I'm Bobby Parker with Beyond Clean. You're watching the Expert Series and seeing a brand new Expert Series that we're launching today, the Borescope Expert Series. Now, if you're new to these Expert Series, what we try to do is bring real subject matter experts from the field in their particular topic, bring them directly to you, and talk about practical matters and questions that you might have related to that topic. And we've got some great Borescope subject matter experts here with us in studio today. I've got Andy Sundet with me, Jenni Gibbs here with me to talk to us about borescopes, not just why they're important, but how to use them well and all kinds of considerations and answering questions you might have. Guys, welcome to the studio. Thanks so much for joining me. Why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your background related to borescopes?
Hey, thanks, Bobby. Really excited to be here and be part of this. My name's Andy. I work with Claris Medical, joined the team in 2017. We're a leading borescope manufacturer located in Minneapolis, Minnesota, an incredible organization filled with incredible team members. We make small devices that make big results. So Claris Medical recently partnered with the leading software and AI partner to develop SmartScope. So that is a new solution that's going to be out. I get the privilege to travel the world and work with different organizations to implement borescopes into their processes. The best part of my job, though, is honestly to see these eyes light up when technicians or people operating the borescope get to see inside these lumens for the first time. One of these relationships we've built is Jenni. Her team's incredible. Jenni, I'm so happy you're here. Can you just introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. My name is Jenni Gibbs. I'm the manager of the Central Sterile Department at All True Hospital in Grand Forks, and we're a combined department. So we have SPD, Central Supply, and Endoscope Reprocessing. That's all under our umbrella. We have a huge team of 65, and I will tell you that they are the borescope subject matter experts. I can be for some of the other things, but they are really the users in there. So I got to give credit where credit is due to my team.
Well said.
They do. We inspect 8,000 flexible endoscopes with a borescope on average every year. We do a full line from GI, urology, ENT, pulmonary scopes for surgery. We do every scope every time. And we've been doing that for about 5 years. And prior to that, so for over 8 years, we have been doing borescope inspection on our instruments. So our lumen instruments that are high risk. And so our team has been very invested and loving the technology of the borescope and what it provides them to be able to do their job.
That's awesome. So yeah, I'm really glad to have your particular clinical expertise on this, as I would consider your department kind of a super user of borescopes. A lot of the conversations around borescope usage, guys, lives in the realm of theoretical and in the realm of standards. You know, should we use one? What does the research say? And all of that's well and good. But what I really want to dive into in this Borescope Expert Series are some of the more practical questions of whether or not we should use a borescope, and then once you have one, how to implement it effectively in the department. So I'm looking forward into diving into some of that experience that you've had in setting up that program, Jenni. In this introductory episode here in episode 1, I want to start at the very highest level and just ask about borescopes in general. Why are they significant? Why are they important? And to tee up this question, I want to pick up on a comment that you made, Andy, about the favorite part of your job, seeing the technician get to use a borescope for the first time, explore the whole new world inside their medical devices, if you will. And I just want to ask, in your experience, as you've traveled the world, been in departments, seen technicians implement borescopes for the first time, what are some of those high-risk issues that you find the departments start running into and discovering when they first implement borescopes in their departments?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so statistics show pretty alarming data, right? So it's not a matter of if, but it's kind of when and what you're going to find with a borescope inside of your lumens. So now that we have this technology, a borescope to look inside of a device and the lumen inside that device, we've basically opened up 50% of the device that's probably the most challenging to clean and reprocess. So, with that, with Claris, when we explain what to look for, it falls under 4 categories. Debris, something that does not belong in the lumen and likely going back through reprocessing would take care of that issue. Second thing being damage. So that damage permutations are quite endless. But we'll hit on that more. Third thing would be discoloration. So some kind of discoloring, a different color, like a residual chemical or cloudiness that might reside in a lumen after it's been reprocessed, or even something like rusting. A rust type of color that's appearing on a surgical device. So the last D, so the fourth D, would be droplets. And that's something that's been quite interesting as of late, to see moisture inside lumens where it should not be present. So that's kind of the blanket statement on what we're looking for. Jenni, can you share just a couple interesting finds on your side?
There's always interesting finds, and we've had many over the years, from ripped lining inside of an EUS, a really high complex GI endoscope, and that endoscope, and the lining is sitting across the channel, and they're going to do maybe a biopsy and put a tool through there, and how are they going to avoid that? That's a discussion, and we pulled that out of service. So we've had retained objects in there. We've had an EUS loaner scope come in that we inspected when it came in. We have an inspection process every time something comes in and out from loaner or from repair. Like, we inspect it to see how that looks, just like we do every time we reprocess it. And we had a full piece of sponge in a scope, and the brush went through it. We cleaned it. It seemed fine, but when we visually inspected it, there was this green glob that the camera went through, and turned out it was a piece of sponge that was in there with a hole in the middle, so that the brush could actually go through it. We've had stents in our ERCP, didn't deploy correctly in an ERCP scope. In our suctions, we've had pitting inside that shouldn't be there, inside a metal suction. A big surprise for us was our metrics tubes for our spine cases, our very smallest ones, that are difficult to brush because of the size, that they had staining and discoloration in them, almost like rust. And so again, now that's part of our standard process to pull those out when we see that and do that visual inspection. So I just want to stress that it's not always the technician's issue. You can have excellent technicians, you can have excellent processes, you can do all of your manual clean to standard, to the IFU, but if you can't visually inspect that inside of that channel and see what you're actually trying to clean or what's in there, you just don't have the tool you need. So that's where the borescope really comes in. Even if you do all of the correct processes, residual protein tests, you can still find that stuff. It's the other part of the scope, and it's the most difficult part to clean. So it's really not a matter of if you're going to find something, whether it's instrumentation or flexible endoscopes. 100% you will find something in something sometime, and it really gives the technicians the tools to know that they have done their job to the best that they can, and that's 100%, and that device is safe for the patient. The borescope, in my mind, puts the patient in the center.
Right. And even as you said, like an ATP test or something like that isn't going to detect the damage inside that you could potentially find as you've discovered with tears and things of the sort. So super important. I appreciate you adding some color to that. Before we wrap this first episode, would you like to press a little bit harder on just the risk that is present to patients when we're sending devices up to surgery, and we don't know whether or not the inside of those devices are clean?
It's you can't clean dirt. You can't. That's why we fight dirty. You can't clean dirt and debris, and you need to have a perfect device inside and out. That's why we all are tasked with very meticulous inspection in every IFU and every process in our education. While we all went to school, our job is to make sure that that device is perfect, and so that it's safe for the patient. If there's debris, that can't be sterilized. If there's damage, that could hold residual stuff. You can't have rust for obvious reasons. All of those things could injure a patient, produce a hospital acquired infection, that list is endless, but at the end of it, it is a risk to the patient. And, if you tackle that GI endoscope and superbugs and CRE infections, you don't even want, there's real life and death risk for our patients if we don't get this right.
That's really well said. And to touch on Andy's last D, the droplets, I appreciated those 4 Ds, by the way. The last D on the droplets of detecting moisture in scopes where we have done our 10-minute dry time, we're hanging it appropriately. Finding that moisture in there can be crucial in reworking your workflow for making sure that your scopes are safe and aren't growing things inside of them before taking them to patients as well. Guys, I think that's a great introduction to this Borescope series of the risks of not using one. Next time we get together, I want to talk about how to advocate for a Borescope. I don't want to get all the way through 12 months of this series and just have people rolling their eyes into the back of their head saying, gee, that would be great if I had a Borescope. So next time we get together, let's talk about that. If you are listening and you have a question for Andy or Jenni, I don't want you to just stay tuned and wait for these videos. Do that, but also feel free to reach out to them directly. You'll find their contact information in the video description below. And until next time we get together, we'll say to you, as we always do here at Beyond Clean, keep fighting dirty.